Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 6, Battle for the True Inheritance. Chapter 70, 611, The Camellia Silkworm and the Pure Glazed Flame. 70th of Volume 6. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Each camellia silkworm, though its cocoon of time only lasts 3 days, contains a staggering 480 days within. The time ratio between the exterior and interior is 160. Moreover, silkworm eggs can be preserved indefinitely without time stones or spiritual light nourishment. In other words, they can be taken out of the void ruins ancient kingdom and hatched whenever needed. This alone demonstrates their immense value. For the younger generation of martial mystic cultivators eager to advance their cultivation and participate in the 100 Realms Immortal Ascension competition, these silkworms are among the most coveted treasures. However, the 3-year cultivation cycle requires vast quantities of precious herbs and essence herbs, and the process is fraught with difficulty, making the silkworms highly susceptible to death. Ordinary Immortal Realm cultivators can only dream of acquiring them. Li Wei's idea to use extreme dawn light dew from the Fusong divine tree stemmed from his belief that silkworms, by nature, would prefer mulberry leaves. While he couldn't obtain the Fusong divine tree's mulberry leaves directly, the extreme dawn light dew, which dripped from those leaves, undoubtedly contained some subtle yet potent essence. With his hands clasped behind his back, Li Wei quietly approached Qing Zijin and peered over her shoulder at the stone platform, where 25 young silkworms crawled across leaves of precious herb. These silkworms were several times larger than ordinary silkworm larvae. Their bodies shimmered like jade, a translucent, vibrant green adorned with mystical golden patterns. The captain has done a remarkable job. All the eggs have successfully hatched, Li Wei murmured in admiration, then turned to 6th Phoenix, who was perched nearby. Learn well from the captain. The task of raising these silkworms will be entrusted to you. The 25 larvae were divided among Tang Wanzhou, Nangong, Zhaotang, Li Wei, and Qing Zijin, each receiving 5. Half would be raised, while the other half would be kept in reserve, in case their inexperience led to the death of all the larvae. Before departing, Tang Wanzhou, Nangong, and Zhaotang entrusted their silkworm eggs to Li Wei and Qing Zijin for incubation. Kai Haohan entrusted his to Changyu Jian, while Yan Zhuo entrusted hers to Lu Yi. The 3rd Immortal Realm experts of the Shaoyang division had been away from Chun City for several months. Now, Li Wei and his 3 companions remained to guard the garrison. Qing Zijin didn't turn to look at Li Wei, aware that 6th Phoenix and Feng were watching her. Her voice carried a hint of resentment. These are just larvae. It's too early to say how many will survive to adulthood. You always dump everything on me when you go into seclusion. Why don't you raise them yourself this time? Li Wei naturally wouldn't let himself be distracted by this. He patted 6th Phoenix, who was lying on the stone platform, watching the larvae. Once you teach it, it'll take good care of them. After all, camellia silkworms are moths, and so is it. The sky is falling. How did one die? It was fine yesterday. Changyu Jian's anguished voice came from nearby. Li Wei hurried over and glanced at the lifeless larva. The one that died looks like Kai Haohan's, he said consolingly. Even if you make jokes that reach the heavens, I can't laugh right now. What if 5 or 6 more die? Am I supposed to tell him, the dead ones are yours, the living ones are mine? Changyu Jian's face was a picture of despair as he doubted his ability to raise the silkworms to maturity. He had entered the Void Ruins ancient kingdom to break through to the 3rd realm of the Immortal Realm, aiming to challenge Mo Duanfeng and Bai Chuan. The appearance of the camellia silkworms had given him hope, and the death of this larva was a crushing setback. Lu Yi approached from the direction of the camp gate, his expression grave. Breaking news, the army of the dead has already occupied Nether Spiritual Mountain. They could march on Chun City within a day. The threat is imminent. Even if our camp's formation were 10 times stronger, it would be crushed. Half a year ago, Li Wei had entrusted all 1,000 ghost-faced owls from Luo Pingdan's boundary pouch to Lu Yi for intelligence gathering. What's the reaction from the various factions in Chun City? Li Wei asked. In recent days, Chun City has grown completely deserted. Cultivators from all sides have rushed to Nether Spiritual Mountain, believing the army of the dead's presence there must indicate a significant reason, perhaps the emergence of a major treasure. The ghost-faced owls report that Kai Yuan, son of the Crimson Phoenix, has gifted the Rice Palace's true disciple with a phoenix carriage, which has already left the city. Lu Yi added, there's another piece of news. A 7,000-year-old essence herb has been discovered in the 10,000 burials district of the sacrificial pit. That's a false report, Li Wei immediately concluded. They're trying to lure me out of our base to assassinate me. They must think I'll lower my guard now that Chun City's cultivators have flocked to Nether Spiritual Mountain. Moreover, they know I need high-grade essence herbs to nurture my 7 strange insects. Even a 6,500-year-old essence herb would be worth over 100 million Yongquan coins. A 7,000-year-old specimen would double that value, making it something even ordinary great immortal cultivators wouldn't dare dream of. Lu Yi's gaze sharpened slightly. Based on the description, it doesn't sound like a fabrication. What description? Li Wei asked. Lu Yi replied, the news came from the demon clan. They say the essence herb has transformed into a half-human, half-herb being, its entire body radiating a verdant glow. It moves like lightning, capable of flying through the skies and burrowing through the earth, with combat prowess comparable to a third realm immortal realm martial mystic cultivator. Its speed surpasses even that of fourth realm immortal realm martial mystic cultivators. He paused, then added, based on the description, it sounds a lot like a heavenly spiritual cub. The 5 phoenix-winged moth emperors gathered around Li Wei, their antennae twitching as they listened intently. Feng said, I'll go investigate and sense its true nature. Li Wei glanced at him. Don't rush. Wait for 7th Phoenix to complete her breakthrough, then send her to scout first. Li Wei naturally hoped all 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors would break through to the 2nd immortal realm, or even the peak of the 2nd immortal realm. With a perfected combined attack formation, his combat power would increase dramatically. Even when dispersed to hunt enemies and search for treasures, they could quickly accumulate wealth. The Sentinel Spirit Army offered rewards for slaying dead spirits. Once he had amassed enough wealth, he could venture into the holy cities of the various living realms and sweep up essence herbs and spiritual pills. Since arriving in the Void Ruins ancient kingdom, Li Wei had always prioritized acquiring rare resources and accumulating wealth. Another year passed. Li Wei sat cross-legged in the blood-mud space, his expression solemn and dignified, radiating a serene Buddhist aura. His right hand formed the Shi seal, held before his chest with the palm facing outward and fingers arched upward. Sizzle. The immortal haze radiance surged from his divine pivot, while the 4-colored spiritual light erupted from his brow. These 2 streams of energy collided at the center of his palm. Green karmic fire erupted from the crimson gourd before him, converging into the palm. Whoosh. Psychic martial fusion ignited the spiritual chi and spiritual light, transforming their power and emitting a radiant, lapis-like glow. The 5th layer of the 6-fold samsara burning karma technique, the luminous pure fire. Li Wei surveyed the blood-mud space, now a sea of flames engulfing everything. With a slight shift of his Shi seal, he instantly commanded the luminous pure fire. A single strike of his palm seal would unleash the full might of this 5th layer imperial technique. The 5th layer is now mastered. Can its power rival the perfected 5th layer imperial techniques of others? Probably not yet, but it should at least match the perfected 5th layer great techniques. Li Wei knew that martial mystic cultivators in the 3rd immortal realm who perfected their 5th layer great techniques could drastically enhance their combat prowess. Yet, only a handful ever achieved such mastery. After all, many great immortal cultivators had failed to master the 5th layer of their great techniques. In short, with this the luminous pure fire technique, Li Wei had already surpassed the top young experts of his generation in Dao techniques. His only shortcoming was his novice status, casting the technique required a significant amount of time. In actual combat, who would grant him such leisure? He needed more practice. Li Wei turned his inner gaze to the soul return shackle. The chain had thinned to only a third of its original thickness and was already showing cracks. Considering the steady, methodical progress he had made over the past year and a half, he felt quite satisfied. Hearing Feng's voice transmission from outside, Li Wei extinguished the luminous pure fire and sealed the crimson gourd. The karmic fire within the crimson gourd had been collected by his Shaoyang division teammates after slaying the fallen spirit commander of ancient Yi City. It had then been sent back from Nether Spiritual Mountain specifically for him to cultivate the 6-fold samsara burning karma technique. Of course, Li Wei, stationed far behind the front lines, had also crafted immobilization talismans and divine swiftness talismans for them. With his current cultivation at the 2nd realm of Holy Spiritual Master, the immobilization talismans he produced were feared even by martial mystic cultivators at the peak of the 3rd immortal realm. Though difficult to apply directly, the mere fear they inspired was comparable to a powerful great technique. Returning to the barracks, Li Wei asked Feng, what's the matter? The 7,000-year-old heavenly spiritual cub has reappeared. Feng exclaimed excitedly, many demon clan experts just flew past. The immortal seeking pearl is fluctuating wildly, and even the Earth's spiritual child says it must be the heavenly spiritual cub. If Feng could capture the heavenly spiritual cub, even consuming a single leaf would be enough to rapidly advance him to the peak of the 2nd immortal realm. Though he could devour souls, he dared not overindulge, fearing it would corrupt his mind. Over the past year, rumors of a 7,000-year-old essence herb had surfaced several times, but Li Wei had remained unmoved. This time, however, as Li Wei stepped outside, he saw a cyan glow on the horizon and heard the sounds of battle. A faint medicinal fragrance permeated the air. It seemed this time, it was real. The myriad manifestation staff spear stood planted in the courtyard, drawing down the moonlight void ruins. The entire courtyard shimmered like a sea of light. Bathed in the thick moonlight, the camellia silkworms had molted 3 times and entered their 4th instar. Their bodies were growing rapidly, now 3 inches long, radiating a jade-like radiance. Enveloped in a misty haze, they exhibited strange time distortions. They were currently being fed millennial essence, a herb brought back by their Shaoyang division teammates. After Chang Yujian's 5 silkworms had died, he entrusted the remaining 5 to Qing Zijin, asking her to care for them. Lu Yi made the same choice. Li Wei approached the myriad manifestation staff spear. Qing Zijin sat in meditation beneath it, absorbing the moonlight of the void ruins. She opened her bright eyes and sensed Li Wei's hesitation. Thanks to the camellia silkworm's light, I've broken through to the 2nd realm of the holy spiritual master. I can defend the base. Go without worry. Besides the camellia silkworm's light, there's also the nether soul divine essence Tang Wanzhou and Nangong brought back, Li Wei said with a smile. Qing Zijin understood why he said that. She rose gracefully, her chest trembling slightly with anger. Tilting her head back, she gazed up at Li Wei, who towered over her, their faces inches apart. You still doubt me. You're most worried about me. A year and a half ago, when the holy commander left, Luo Yinji appeared. Li Wei stared at her youthful face, which seemed forever frozen in adolescence. Captain, with your sensitive nature, how can I entrust the base to you? Boom. Chang Yujian burst through the door with a resounding crash, throwing his head back and laughing heartily. 5 years. 5 years. I've broken through to the 2nd immortal realm. Brother Wei, go without worry. The base is in my hands. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 6, Battle for the True Inheritance. Chapter 71, 612, Sacrificial Pit Myriad Burial Zone. 71st of Volume 6. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Chang Yujian struggled to suppress his astonishment as he gazed at Li Wei, who had used the transformation technique to perfectly mimic his appearance. It was as if he were looking in a mirror, every detail, from his physique and facial features to his gaze and aura, was flawlessly replicated. I've seen transformation techniques and illusions before, Chang Yujian said, half-jokingly, but with enough familiarity, you can always spot the flaws. Brother Wei, your transformation technique is more valuable than even an imperial technique. Promise me you'll always be a principled and good person, or I'll never dare to marry in this lifetime. Li Wei and Lu Yi burst into laughter. Qing Zijin stood aside, glaring coldly at him, clearly disliking Li Wei's ability to impersonate others. Li Wei retrieved a divine speed talisman, affixed it to his body, and turned to the trio. There must be experts watching outside the Sentinel Spirit Army's garrison. If I make a move, my identity will be exposed, and the garrison could come under attack. Lu Yi countered, I think they're far more likely to target you personally than the garrison. Li Wei nodded slightly, aware of the immense danger that awaited him outside the garrison. However, 3rd Immortal Realm experts from the Shaoyang division frequently blew their sentinels' whistles to transmit messages back. With nearly all true disciple-level powerhouses of the 3rd Immortal Realm now concentrated at Nether Realm Spirit Mountain, the threat to Chun City had significantly diminished. Qing Zijin said, don't worry about depleting the Great Immortal Realm spiritual chi in the 4 Battle Corps puppets. Once they're exhausted, you can use all 13 of mine. Do you want to take them with you? She knew how formidable the Battle Corps puppets became after Li Wei awakened them using ancient immortal dragon blood. She also knew their spiritual chi reserves were limited. Li Wei looked at Qing Zijin, a wave of warmth washing over him like a comforting embrace. Genuine concern was a rare treasure in this world, cherished by both the giver and the receiver. Yet ironically, few truly understood its rarity, treating it as commonplace. Keep them for now, Li Wei said, wait for the good news that I've harvested the 7,000-year-old essence herb. Activating his divine speed talisman, Li Wei surged forward, transforming into a streak of talisman light as he pierced through the formation light veil guarding the encampment. He didn't attempt to slip out unnoticed. Because that was impossible. A year and a half ago, when Tang Wanzhou and the others had tried to leave quietly using the invisibility power of their spiritual artifact battle armor, they were immediately intercepted by Luo Yinji. The 4-eared ghost monkey Marquis sat cross-legged in the ruins 2 miles away. Seeing the talisman light erupt from the Sentinel Spirit Army's encampment, the 4-eared ghost monkey Marquis's eyes snapped open, and he leapt to his feet. With a flick of his finger, he unleashed a bone-chilling blast of ghostly energy, engulfing the figure within the talisman light. Whoosh! The ghostly energy transformed into hundreds of chains, coiling around Li Wei. Li Wei swung his palm, shattering the chains with sheer physical force. Then, with a laugh that echoed like the clang of Chang Yujian's blade, he declared, Chang has already reached the 2nd realm of Immortal Realm. Ghost Marquis, your cultivation is formidable, but do you truly believe you can restrain me from such a distance with mere spiritual chi? You underestimate the cultivators of this world. Ha ha. The four-eared ghost monkey Marquis snorted and retrieved an ancient Vajra pestle spiritual artifact, giving chase. By then, Chang Yujian's body had shrunk to the size of a grain of rice, already 10 miles away. Influenced by the nether spiritual qi, the four-eared ghost monkey Marquis's perception of him grew increasingly faint. After pursuing for some time, the four-eared ghost monkey Marquis halted, his monkey eyes burning with twin green flames as he glared back at the sentinel spirit army's encampment. He quickly retreated, fearing this might be a feint to lure him away. To the Taiyan sect and the nether realm of the dead, while Chang Yujian possessed extraordinary talent, rivaling even imperial disciples like Wenren Tinghai, but he was still far from posing a true threat. They had to secure Li Wei, preventing him from escaping and forcing him to remain in the open rather than slipping into the shadows. East of Chun City lay a region shrouded in nether spiritual qi. 20,000 years ago, the oldest nether spirit had once thrived there. West of Chun City, fully exposed to the moonlight void ruins, one could see all the ancient ruins, desolate wastelands, and lingering malevolent energies at a single glance. Li Wei burst from the nether spiritual qi-shrouded forest, his feet treading the vast expanse of water, leaving concentric ripples in his wake as he headed toward the opposite shore of West City. West City contained a vast area shrouded in gray death qi, known as the Sacrificial Pit Myriad Burial Zone, a relic from 20,000 years ago. Gazing from afar, a cyan glow flickered above the Sacrificial Pit Myriad Burial Zone, shifting back and forth. The sound of wind being cleaved echoed incessantly as radiant spiritual qi streaked through the air. Martial mystic cultivators from the major powers stationed in Chun City all activated their body techniques, rushing toward the scene. The waterway dividing Chun City into east and west spanned over 10 miles. As Li Wei landed on the West City shore, he sensed a powerful yet familiar battle technique intent locking onto him, causing a flicker of surprise in his heart. Moments later, Sheng Wulian, clad in white robes, appeared 30 yards away, perched on the branch of an ancient, ink-green tree. Standing on the leaf tip with his hands clasped behind his back, he exuded an indescribable ethereal divinity. Though he had lost the Northern Life Sea map and his position as true disciple, his gains from the East Sea still made him one of the most outstanding young heavenly prides, his cultivation speed astonishing. He had already reached the second realm of the immortal realm. Clearly, it was Chang Yujian's earlier shout to the four-eared ghost monkey Marquis that had drawn him out. Li Wei sensed the formidable strength of the Tao Heart manifestation enveloping him as he gazed up at the treetop. Sheng Wulian's primordial life technique spiritual qi radiated like divine light, as brilliant as the distant void ruins. Brother Sheng, Li Wei asked, has Yujian offended you in some way? Why such intense hostility? What Li Wei sensed wasn't merely hostility, but murderous intent. Sheng Wulian's sleeves billowed like clouds, his eyes sharp as blades. There is nothing I have done to offend you. Perhaps it's jealousy, or perhaps it's because you've grown too close to Li Wei. Leave behind your innate opportunity, and I'll spare your life. In the East Sea, before the excavation of the ancient immortal dragon remains, Sheng Wulian's 99% immortal body gave him a significant combat advantage over Chang Yujian. But while Chang Yujian successfully cultivated an immortal body, Sheng Wulian had failed. This failure was the root of his jealousy. The Rice Palace's immortal herb had been bestowed upon the true disciple, the purple-clad woman, and Wu Hongling. Even Gai Lingyun and Gai Kanghai had received such gifts. Defeated by Li Wei, Sheng Wulian had lost not only a supreme treasure and his position as true disciple, but also the favor of the Rice Palace's upper echelons. He had been discredited in every aspect: temperament, wisdom, and political acumen. Sheng Wulian had squandered his life's fortune. Instead of focusing on cultivating the immortal body, he chose to directly break through to the immortal realm through sheer speed of cultivation, hoping to regain his lost confidence. Sensing multiple auras rapidly closing in, Li Wei wasted no time on further exchanges with Sheng Wulian. With a whoosh, he darted forward. The 30 zhang distance vanished in an instant. Confident that his cultivation surpassed Chang Yujian's, Sheng Wulian met Li Wei's advance with a calm gaze, neither flinching nor dodging. He raised his arm and unleashed the Tao technique Primordial Chaos Palm. Primordial Chaos spiritual qi and immortal scripture flowed through his arm and palm as he flipped his hand downward, unleashing a massive palm strike. Beneath the palm imprint, the air violently compressed, and even the earth cracked and crumbled. Li Wei, wary of Sheng Wulian's hidden trump cards, gave him no time to react. Whoosh! His figure blurred as he evaded the primordial chaos palm with impossible speed. To Sheng Wulian's eyes, Chang Yujian seemed to vanish beneath the palm imprint, moving with eerie swiftness. Before he could react, Chang Yujian had already reappeared beside him on the right, his form rapidly sharpening from a blur into clear focus. Too fast. He's not Chang Yujian. The thought had barely flashed through Sheng Wulian's mind when he saw Chang Yujian seize his wrist with one hand, his right arm still frozen in the palm strike posture. With his other hand, Chang Yujian struck Sheng Wulian's ancestral field. A searing pain and the sensation of his ancestral field's innate world barrier shattering flooded Shang Wulian's mind simultaneously. His consciousness went blank, filled with confusion. Before he could scream, his mouth was clamped shut, and his body was yanked uncontrollably underground by Chong Yujian. Boom! The pair crashed into the earth with a thunderous roar. From a distance, it appeared as if Shang Wulian had unleashed a formidable Dao technique, striking Chong Yujian into the ground with a single palm strike before pursuing him into the depths. Swish! Swish! 6 rice palace martial mystic cultivators in the immortal realm, including Junxin, surrounded the crater. Li Wei activated his transformation technique, assuming Shang Wulian's appearance. Dressed in snow-white robes, he gracefully leapt from the underground, landing beside the crater. Flicking dust from his sleeves, he coldly declared, "What an impressive escape technique. He got away. Let's move." Securing that 7,000-year-old essence herb takes priority. Even after losing his position as true disciple, Shang Wulian's innate talent remained exceptional, promising a bright future. As such, the younger generation of immortal realm martial mystic cultivators in G City still looked to him for leadership. Among the 6 accompanying him, 3 were at the second immortal realm, while the other 3 had reached the peak of the first immortal realm. The group of 7 entered the sacrificial pit myriad burial zone, heading to rendezvous with the remaining Rice Palace elites. Shang Wulian's ancestral field contained only a single strand of transcendent spiritual qi. Given his exceptional talent in the martial mystic Dao, it's astonishing that he possessed such a meager life-saving trump card. Shang Wulian's combat prowess within his realm rivaled even Wangfu Song of the Taiyan sect. Even if he wasn't a true disciple, he should have been prioritized for protection. Li Wei found this baffling, attributing it to the selfishness of the Rice Palace's elders. After all, most Rice people were orphans, and few truly cared about their well-being. The Rice Palace's garrison in Chun City was led by Yu Baoyuan and Yu Shui, the strongest cultivators of the Xuanhuan Palace. Among the Rice Palace's 5 great palace altars, Ji City, presided over by Emperor Ji, stood supreme. Dominating the southeastern 100 realms of the living, it formed the vanguard in the ongoing conflict with the human race. A single city boasting a population exceeding 100 million, it teemed with formidable cultivators. The azure seat Kanghai Hall served as the central pivot of power within the Kanghai Rice realm, the Rice people's ancestral homeland. It governed a life realm with a population exceeding 10 billion. The Xuanhuan Palace was the most ancient and mysterious of the palace altars, while Shenyi Mountain had been established by one of the Rice people's crown princes. The Rice Mother Daomu Tower was the newest palace altar, still under construction. When Li Wei spotted Yu Baoyuan and Yu Shui, 2/3 3-realm peak experts with 3-eyed profound pupils, he immediately became fully alert. He kept his distance, offering a respectful bow from afar before stopping atop a high mound composed of corpses, rotting mud, and broken weapons. He secretly surveyed his surroundings. Over 20 Rice Palace cultivators, including both martial mystic cultivators and psychic masters, had gathered in the area. Apart from the Rice Mother Tower, the cultivators from the 4 palace altars were clearly divided, clustering together but all deferring to Yu Baoyuan and Yu Shui as their leaders. Peak 3rd Immortal Realm experts from Ji City, Azure Seat Kanghai Hall, and Shenyi Mountain had also entered the Void Ruins Ancient Kingdom, but they had gone to Nether Spiritual Mountain, not Chun City. Within the Shenyi Mountain camp, Li Wei spotted Wu Hongling and the purple-clad woman. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 6, Battle for the True Inheritance. Chapter 72, 613, Seizing the Medicine. 72nd of Volume 6. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Wu Hongling and the purple-clad woman harbored immense ambition, unwilling to lag behind others. They wouldn't miss any opportunity to rapidly enhance their cultivation. Wu Hongling stood within the defensive formation, her red silk draped around her, her porcelain-white skin gleaming like jade. Her slender, supple arms were fully exposed, their graceful lines radiating an alluring beauty. Sensing Shang Wulian's gaze, she turned her delicate, oval face, her smile radiant yet her eyes icy and threatening. Her long, slender fingers curled into claws, her nails sharp and gleaming. In Wu Hongling's eyes, Shang Wulian remained persistent, still seeking to reclaim the North Life Sea map within her body. Yu Baoyuan, using the mystical eye at the center of his brow, gazed toward the distant sacrificial pit, tracking the rapidly moving heavenly spiritual cub. The heavenly spiritual cub stood a foot tall, already possessing a humanoid form. Green branches and leaves crowned its head, while its feet trod upon crackling thunder and lightning. Unlike the Earth's spiritual child's pitch-black body, the heavenly spiritual cub glowed with jade-like purity, its medicinal fragrance sweet and invigorating. Both the Earth's spiritual child and the heavenly spiritual cub were rare herbs born from the essence of heaven and earth. If allowed to mature for 10,000 years, they would transform into imperial herbs, capable of wielding transcendent-level combat power. Such innate potential was the envy of countless living beings. Another key difference lay in their energy sources. The Earth's spiritual child absorbed the yin qi of the Earth, while the heavenly spiritual cub drew upon the yang qi of the heavens. This heavenly yang qi was entirely contained within thunder and lightning. Li Wei looked up and gazed forward. He saw that the demon clan's experts had already ventured deep into the myriad burials zone. 7 powerful demon cultivators were unleashing 7 spiritual artifacts from all directions, attempting to suppress the heavenly spiritual cub. Unfortunately, the heavenly spiritual cub moved with astonishing speed and unpredictable trajectories. The spiritual artifacts failed to form an encirclement and suppress it. A 7,000-year-old essence herb is undoubtedly rare and invaluable. But the combined value of these 7 spiritual artifacts is also considerable, Li Wei thought to himself, determined not to provoke unnecessary conflict. Moreover, the combined power of 7 demon clan experts, along with their hidden trump cards, could strip even a true disciple of the ancient sect in the third immortal realm of their skin. They were not to be trifled with. This heavenly spiritual cub has been active several times this past year, yet it always hovers above the sacrificial pit. Even when it reaches the edge, it immediately darts back. What's its game? Is it deliberately toying with us? Wu Hongling huffed, sensing something amiss. The purple-clad woman, who bore an almost identical appearance to Wu Hongling but had a full head of white hair, didn't look at the sky. Instead, her gaze was fixed on the sacrificial pit shrouded in gray mist. With such cultivation and combat prowess, its intelligence must be exceptionally high. Perhaps it's trying to lure us deeper into the sacrificial pit to kill us and seize some advantage. Or perhaps something has happened deep within the pit, forcing it to flee. Li Wei cleared his throat and said, "Doesn't anyone find this strange?" The myriad burials district of the sacrificial pit and the void ruins both represent the yin and cold aspects of heaven and earth. How could such a place nurture the heavenly spiritual cub, a rare essence herb that thrives on yang qi? His words prompted Yu Baoyuan, Yu Shui, Wu Hongling, and the purple-clad woman to fall into deep thought. The myriad burials district of the sacrificial pit spanned dozens of kilometers, said to contain at least 10 million ancient corpses. At its deepest point, the gray mist was so dense that nothing could be seen. No martial mystic cultivator who had ventured inside had ever returned. Even standing at the periphery, Li Wei could feel an invisible force of death corroding his skin, constantly burrowing into his body. Thousand Hills painting. A 6-colored peacock with a wingspan of over 100 meters soared overhead like a colossal, vibrant mountain, stirring up a hurricane as it plunged into the depths of the sacrificial pit. The peacock's body contracted, transforming into a human form as it joined the 7 demon clan experts. He unfurled a scroll and hurled it into the air. The scroll unfurled mid-air, releasing illusory projections of countless hills that trapped the heavenly spiritual cub. Excellent. We've finally contained it. The master's treasured map is truly remarkable, a testament to his profound skill. It's too far away, and it's struggling fiercely. Let's strike together and cripple it first. I only need a few leaves. The 7 great demon experts gathered around the 6-colored peacock activated their spiritual artifacts, launching attacks at the heavenly spiritual cub trapped within the Thousand Hills painting. The 6-colored peacock extended its hand into the void, 6 rivers of spiritual qi surging from its palm, connecting with the Thousand Hills painting and steadily drawing it back. It's actually here in Chun City too. In the netherworld domain of the heavenly capital river, Li Wei and Tang Wanzhou had been relentlessly pursued by the 6-colored peacock and other demon clan powerhouses, giving them a clear understanding of its formidable strength. Not only had its cultivation reached the peak of the third immortal realm, but it also possessed the bloodline of an ancient immortal giant beast, placing its combat prowess on par with Qingzhao's level. The Thousand Hills painting itself was a powerful formation diagram, its formation scriptures densely packed with intricate patterns. Yu Baoyuan and Yu Shui exchanged grave glances, weighing the risks of intervening. The 6-colored peacock's sudden appearance had made the situation exceedingly complicated. Fearing they might retreat, Li Wei urged, "In my opinion, even if we can't obtain it ourselves, we must prevent the demon clan from claiming it. As long as they fail to suppress it, it remains unclaimed, and we can patiently await the true disciples' return to subdue it." Whoosh! A third force emerged, unleashing an arm-thick chain that shot from the ground like a serpentine dragon, streaking across 10 miles of empty space to ensnare the heavenly spiritual cub. The chain's tip was etched with countless talismanic runes. Li Wei's perception and knowledge had far surpassed his former limits. He recognized these runes as having been crafted by a holy spiritual master of at least the 5th realm, their power immense. Even with his current cultivation level, he would be utterly unable to break free if entangled by such a chain. The 6-colored peacock glanced in the chain's direction and roared, "Demon Kingdom scum! Dare to steal what belongs to the demon clan? Show no mercy, kill them all." 3 of the demon clan's 8 powerhouses unfurled their wings and pursued in their true forms. The remaining 5 unleashed spiritual artifacts, launching long-range attacks to intercept the enemy. Haha. What do you mean, what belongs to you? Unclaimed treasures belong to whoever seizes them. 5 Demon Kingdom warriors clad in black armor swiftly retracted the chain, pulling the heavenly spiritual cub back like a kite. All Third Immortal Realm cultivators, join us. The rest of you, spread out. If the heavenly spiritual cub tries to escape through your position, you must delay it, even for a moment. Yu Baoyuan and Yu Shui summoned the Void Bridge Cauldron and swiftly charged toward the 5 Demon Kingdom cultivators. From the Shenyi Mountain, Ji City, and Kanghai Hall camps, 2 young figures each, 4 men and 2 women, rushed forward, closely following Yu Baoyuan and Yu Shui. After a moment's hesitation, Li Wei quickly joined the pursuit. Wu Hongling watched Shang Wulian's retreating figure in astonishment. He actually dares to interfere in the Third Immortal Realm martial mystic cultivators battle. Boom. The 8th grade Thousand Inscriptions artifact, the Void Bridge Cauldron, spun rapidly under Yu Baoyuan and Yu Shui's full power, expanding to the size of a palace. Its majestic aura and overwhelming power shook the heavens. Dense scriptures erupted from the cauldron's surface, coalescing into a luminous bridge of characters that dimmed the talismanic runes on the Demon Kingdom cultivators' chains. The heavenly spiritual cub broke free from the chains, only to be suppressed by the bridge of characters. As the Void Bridge Cauldron continued to spin, it created a vortex of wind, pulling the heavenly spiritual cub toward the Rice Palace's assembled experts. Someone's trying to steal the spoils. The 6-colored peacock unleashed the Thousand Hills painting, engulfing the Rice Palace's assembled experts, including Li Wei, within the formation diagram. Boom. In the next instant, the Demon Clan's powerhouses and the Rice Palace's Third Immortal Realm cultivators unleashed their respective techniques, clashing fiercely. Li Wei continuously dodged and maneuvered, his gaze fixed on the heavenly spiritual cub suspended in midair. He dared not use space evasion to directly seize it. A direct hit from the Void Bridge Cauldron or the Demon Kingdom's rune chain would inflict grievous injuries. Shifting his position, he drifted deeper into the sacrificial pit. Li Wei believed that in such a chaotic battle, the heavenly spiritual cub had a high chance of breaking free from its suppression. Once liberated, it would inevitably flee toward the depths of the sacrificial pit. Only under such circumstances would he have an opportunity. Boom. The rune chain slashed across the sky, striking the bridge of characters and shattering it into fragments. The heavenly spiritual cub broke free once more, its body visibly weakened and its spirit diminished. As Li Wei had predicted, lightning-like radiance erupted from its legs, propelling it from midair toward the depths of the sacrificial pit. Li Wei's form blurred, transforming into a wisp of azure mist that shot 100 zhong into the sky. Activating the spirit treasure seizing hand, he snatched the cub, tossed it into his crimson gourd, and incinerated it with karmic fire to prevent further trouble. Li Wei slammed the gourd's lid shut and roared, "Stop them! This spiritual essence herb belongs to the Rice Palace now." Whoosh! Li Wei immediately activated the governor's official robe, transforming into a purple mist light cluster and fleeing through space evasion. The Rice Palace members erupted in joy. With Shang Wulian securing the heavenly spiritual cub, they were certain to receive their share. A moment later, they realized the truth and erupted in furious curses. The Crimson Gourd was indeed the Rice Palace's spiritual artifact, but Li Wei had long since seized it. Combined with the spatial fluctuations from the governor's official robe, how could they not understand what had happened? In truth, some martial mystic cultivators who had previously clashed with Li Wei sensed his space evasion the moment he activated it. The 6-colored peacock spread its wings and soared through the wind, transforming into a 6-colored streak of light as it pursued him. With calm and rational command, it ordered, use intent attacks to suppress him and prevent him from activating the governor's official robe again. Li Wei emerged from space evasion at the edge of the 10,000 burials district of the sacrificial pit. He immediately felt waves of spiritual chi and intent attacks crashing down upon him, and he swiftly headed toward the water's edge. Just as he reached the shore, he abruptly stopped. There she stood, Luo Yinji, wearing a conical hat and veil, holding a folded umbrella, as if she had been waiting for him by the water's edge for a long time. You may have fooled the 4-eared ghost monkey Marquis, but you can't fool me. As her voice echoed, a thick layer of ice spread from her feet. Even the air crackled with dense, white ice crystals, like fissures in space, inching toward Li Wei. Li Wei would rather face the enemies behind him than confront Luo Yinji, a master of her caliber. Talisman light erupted from his body as he charged along the water's edge toward the void ruins direction. The divine swiftness talisman granted him speed comparable to some great immortal cultivators. Whoosh! Luo Yinji raised her right hand, and a colossal wave, dozens of meters high, surged from the water, crashing down on Li Wei from afar. As the wave crashed, it crystallized into a dense barrage of ice spikes, like 10,000 arrows fired simultaneously. Forward. Li Wei's body shimmered as he teleported toward the sacrificial pit, evading the icy onslaught. How swift! Luo Yinji murmured in admiration. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 6. Battle for the True Inheritance. Chapter 73, 614, The Second Immortal Realm. 73rd of Volume 6. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. The air crackled with dense, whistling sounds. Li Wei looked up and saw 5 elite warriors of the Demon Kingdom's border army charging toward him. Each had cultivated for over a century, their cultivation at the peak of the Third Immortal Realm. Behind him, Luo Yinji pursued steadily, her footsteps leaving trails of frost that crackled and hissed as they froze the ground. Good, they don't have time to form a battle formation. Spiritual light armor materialized around Li Wei as he clashed with the 5 black-armored border army experts. Boom. His opening move was a direct, downward slash using the Tai opens the sea technique. A peak Third Immortal Realm warrior blocked with his halberd, only to be sent flying backward, weapon and all. Those who survived in the border army were all ferocious fighters with unwavering resolve. 2 warriors charged from the left and right, one thrusting with his halberd, the other slashing downward. Scripture and martial mystic chi erupted from their spiritual artifact halberds, forming 2 shimmering walls of energy that pressed down on Li Wei. Li Wei immediately leapt into the air. With 2 swift whooshes, a flying halberd and an arrow, launched in anticipation of his movements, demonstrated the attacker's exceptional foresight and extensive combat experience. Li Wei slashed with his sword while simultaneously activating the spirit treasure seizing technique with his other hand. Bang! The arrow was deflected by his sword. Li Wei caught the flying halberd midair. With a circular motion of his arm, he harnessed the halberd's momentum and hurled it toward Luo Yinji, who was pursuing him from behind. Luo Yinji halted and opened her white oil paper umbrella. The halberd clattered to the ground. Bang! Bang! Boom! Li Wei unleashed the purple heaven thunder seal, sending 2 peak Third Immortal Realm border army experts flying. Enduring a heavy punch to his back, he finally broke through the encirclement and charged deeper into the sacrificial pit. The sacrificial pit's death chi was terrifying, but Li Wei remained unfazed. His body possessed countless defenses against evil forces, even his blood could control them. What was a forbidden zone for others became Li Wei's safest refuge. If he could just catch his breath inside, he could activate the governor's robe and escape. Even if some true forbidden one lurked within, Li Wei thought it might finally rouse his guardian wife. He hadn't seen her in far too long and missed her dearly. Li Wei's current predicament was that the sheer number of enemies gave him no opportunity to activate his governor's robe. The spiritual light armor he wore nearly shattered under the force of a single heavy punch. Only his recently enhanced psychic power, which had thickened the armor, allowed it to withstand the blow. His internal organs trembled, and his spiritual chi scattered. Fortunately, he was wearing 4 layers of defense, preventing serious injury. At that moment, he finally understood what Qingzhao must have felt when surrounded by 4 battle corpse puppets. Li Wei was confident he could kill any of the 5 border army experts within 10 moves. But when they fought together, he could only flee in disarray. If the 5 formed a battle formation, their armor and warriors' formation glyphs would merge, allowing them to contend with even true disciples of the ancient sect in the Third Immortal Realm. Just as Li Wei broke free, 3 spiritual artifacts and 2 Dao techniques erupted from the demon race's formation. Li Wei, do you remember Yu Zi, whom you killed? The 6-colored peacock charged forward, unleashing its 5th layer great technique, the 6-colored profound nether claw, from 100 zhang distance. 6 streams of rainbow-hued spiritual chi cascaded from the sky like waterfalls of cloud mist, converging above Li Wei's head to form a peacock claw imprint. I don't remember. Li Wei dared not linger. Summoning every ounce of his strength, his figure split into 12. The 12 dispersed hands of the Chan sect erupted in a relentless barrage, shattering 3 spiritual artifacts and dispelling 2 Dao techniques. Then, the 12 divine shadows and his true form merged into a single, peerless sword radiance that shot skyward. Boom. The 6-colored profound nether claw was cleaved apart. Spiritual light flashed around Li Wei as he surged forward dozens of meters in a blur, evading the 6-colored peacock and hurtling toward the 2 demon race powerhouses blocking his path. Blood streamed from his nostrils, eyes, and ears. To simultaneously shatter 3 spiritual artifacts, dispel 2 Dao techniques, and cleave through the 6-colored profound nether claw was no easy feat, he had achieved it only at the cost of severe injuries. Trailing behind, Luo Yinji watched in disbelief. She had never imagined Li Wei could unleash such overwhelming combat prowess when cornered. Even she would have paid a price to break through the combined forces of the Demon Kingdom and the Demon Race's great formation. Her hesitation to pursue too closely stemmed from her wariness of Li Wei's trump card techniques. Yet, in such a desperate situation, he hadn't used them. This made Luo Yinji wonder if Li Wei even possessed such trump cards at all. There was no time to wait. If the last 2 demon race powerhouses couldn't withstand even a single move from Li Wei, he would truly escape into the depths of the sacrificial pit, introducing countless variables. Luo Yinji raised her right hand, her 5 slender, snow-white fingers forming an elegant finger seal. Circulating her spiritual chi, she unleashed a finger technique spell. Whoosh! A ripple, a li in diameter, emanated from her fingertip, and a beam of finger force shot forth. The six-colored peacock, hot on Li Wei's heels, shouted to the two-third immortal realm demon cultivators ahead, "Stop him. Just block one attack." Swish! Swish! Li Wei's scarlet eyes burned with cold fury. Over 100 heaven sword talismans erupted from his forehead like a tidal wave, obliterating the two-third immortal realm demon cultivators and their spiritual artifacts. Boom! Boom! The two demon cultivators crashed to the ground, their bodies riddled with holes like sieves. One lay dying, the other dead on the spot. With a thunderous roar, Li Wei was struck by Luo Yinji's distant finger strike, vanishing swiftly into the gray mist, plunging toward the bottom of the sacrificial pit. Luo Yinji flashed to the spot where she had struck Li Wei earlier, her brow furrowed as she replayed the scene in her mind. The finger force had been blocked by 6 pages of paper that flew from Li Wei's body, seemingly preventing it from reaching him. Further ahead, the ground began to sink, descending into the sacrificial pit. No one who had gone down had ever climbed back up. She dared not descend herself. The six-colored peacock continuously channeled spiritual chi into the critically wounded third immortal realm demon cultivator, but to no avail. A group of elite cultivators had launched a coordinated attack, yet 2 of their own had been killed in the counterattack. The six-colored peacock's emotions were complex, his gaze gradually turning cold. The sacrificial pit is a spatial anomaly zone. He can't use the governor's robe to teleport away directly. Summon all the elite cultivators from the city and send word to Xuanhuan, ordering him to return from Nether Spiritual Mountain. We must execute this heaven's chosen, the world's foremost prodigy. The Rice Palace's elite cultivators finally arrived, belatedly. It wasn't that they were slow, but rather that Li Wei was too fast. With so many of you, you still let him escape. Yu Shui sneered. The six-colored peacock retorted, he's stronger than your Rice Palace. You didn't even have a chance to strike. Your reaction speed is so slow, you probably didn't even catch a glimpse of Li Wei's shadow, did you? Wu Hongqian, who had just arrived, secretly breathed a sigh of relief and smiled. Don't be fooled by his usual friendly demeanor. In times of crisis, he unleashes unimaginable explosive power and uses precise judgment to break through any encirclement. I've witnessed it several times, nothing surprises me anymore. Don't you think his cultivation is excessively powerful? The purple-clad woman whispered. Wu Hongling, having witnessed it firsthand, was equally stunned. When they parted ways in the East Sea, they never imagined Li Wei's strength would surpass theirs. But now, facing him again, they felt they no longer even deserved to fight him. The two-third immortal realm demon corpses lying on the ground served as a chilling reminder of his overwhelming power. Inside the sacrificial pit. As expected, the impact of spiritual chi on the immortal shackle during a life or death battle is completely different from usual, Li Wei thought, sitting within the massive skeletal remains of some ancient creature. He tucked the 6 pages of the earth tome into his robes, feeling as if his body was about to fall apart. Bracing himself against his injuries, he carefully gathered his blood chi into a bottle. When he examined the soul return shackle internally, he noticed a significant increase in cracks. No wonder Tang Wanzhou had said that breaking the third shackle would require years of secluded cultivation. Battle, however, proved far more efficient. During his regular secluded cultivation, Li Wei believed he was exerting his full effort, pushing his spiritual chi flow to its absolute limit. But in the crucible of a true life or death battle, the flow of spiritual chi surged with an entirely different intensity. Li Wei listened intently, confirming that Luo Yinji, the 6-colored peacock, and their group hadn't pursued him. Only then did he release 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors to serve as guardians while he began healing his injuries. He hadn't deployed them earlier to form a combined strike battle formation because speed was paramount, he couldn't afford any delay. In such a situation, even a single misjudgment could prove fatal. Crack. Crack. As his internal spiritual chi circulated in cycles, the cracks in the soul return shackle continued to multiply. Boss Li is the heavenly spiritual child inside the gourd. Big Phoenix pressed her ear against the scarlet gourd, able to hear faint sounds from within. Can you understand what it's saying? Second Phoenix asked, pushing Big Phoenix aside and pressing his own ear against the gourd. After a moment, he said awkwardly, maybe we should let the earth's spiritual seed try. Li Wei stopped healing, sensing an unusual chi presence around him. Alert, he cautiously retrieved the myriad manifestation staff spear, hoping for a breakthrough. The earth's spiritual seed, its pitch-black body resembling an infant, clung to the spear's butt end and pressed itself against the scarlet gourd. After listening intently for a while, it began communicating with the heavenly spiritual child inside. The earth's spiritual seed conveyed the heavenly spiritual child's message to Li Wei through willpower. It says if we spare its life, it will grant us a great opportunity. Tell it that it is our great opportunity, Li Wei replied. The 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors surrounding the gourd nodded in unison. After another exchange, the Earth's spiritual seed reported, it claims to know many secrets about Chun City and can lead us to other Millennium Essence herbs, some with potency reaching 6 or 7,000 years. Intrigued, Li Wei opened the gourd's lid and released the heavenly spiritual child. The karmic fire had weakened the heavenly spiritual child even further. Though weakened, the heavenly spiritual child still possessed third immortal realm combat power. Li Wei dared not underestimate it, gripping its neck to seal its power first. Huh. Within Li Wei's divine gate, thunder and lightning scriptures began to glow. These scriptures converted spiritual chi into crackling electricity, which surged from his fingertips and intertwined with the lightning within the heavenly spiritual child's body. They had been cultivated through comprehending the Thundercloud sect's supreme true scripture, the Nine Heavens secret treasury, the same scripture inscribed on the purple jade stele in Lingxiao Palace. This Taoist method shared the same origin as the heavenly spiritual child's lightning. How was this possible? What connection could the heavenly spiritual child have with the Thundercloud sect? Drawn by the heavenly spiritual child's lightning, Li Wei's spiritual chi began to circulate uncontrollably within him. The chi continuously transformed into lightning, surging through his veins and string meridians, creating countless rivers of lightning within his body. Crack. The second immortal shackle, the soul returned shackle, shattered. It was like a layer of shackles being lifted from his physical body. His entire being felt lighter, freer, as if he could ascend to the heavens at any moment. From the broken soul return shackle, a surge of life energy erupted, sweeping through his limbs and bones, crashing into his 10 springs and chi si. Under this torrent of life energy, Li Wei's injuries healed at an astonishing rate. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 6. Battle for the True Inheritance. Chapter 74, 615, The Ancestor of the Thundercloud Sect. 74th of Volume 6. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. Li Wei sat cross-legged within the skeletal remains of an unknown giant beast, completely enveloped in wisps of lightning. He retrieved a spiritual crystal, held it in his palm, and absorbed its energy to replenish the massive amount of spiritual chi required for his breakthrough. The surging thunder and life energy within his body caused a profound transformation in his physical body, intent, soul spirit, and spiritual chi, propelling him toward higher realms of power and Tao techniques. There was no pain. Instead, he experienced a bliss that surpassed all worldly pleasures, his spirit completely exhilarated. The 7 immortal shackles within the human body not only sealed one's lifespan but also formed 7 barriers between humanity and the natural order of heaven and earth. Breaking each shackle represented drawing closer to the origin of the great Tao, granting access to immortal power far surpassing that of the previous cultivation realm. Sizzle. 108 thunder annihilation formations materialized around Li Wei's body, flickering incessantly. Dense lightning crackled, accompanied by muffled thunder. Li Wei inwardly observed the thunder scripture shimmering on his immortal golden core, noticing that the scriptures had expanded significantly. The thunder within the heavenly spiritual cub not only shares the same origin as the thunder scripture I've been studying but is also far more profound and pure. It's like a teacher directly revealing the answers I've been desperately seeking. Exactly. The collision of these two forces, resonating at the same frequency, propelled my comprehension of the Tao of thunder forward by leaps and bounds. It marked the culmination of years of contemplation, transforming quantitative accumulation into qualitative transformation. This explains the explosive growth of the thunder scripture. This thunder and lightning power wasn't cultivated by the heavenly spiritual cub itself, it must have absorbed it from somewhere else. Li Wei suddenly understood. Now he finally understood why the myriad burials district of the sacrificial pit, a place of extreme yin, could nurture a heavenly spiritual cub that devoured yang qi. The reason must lie here. Having reached the second realm of the immortal realm, Li Wei's severe internal injuries healed spontaneously without herbs. He opened his eyes and stretched his arms. His entire being pulsed with vitality, his blood boiling, his pupils radiating divine light, as if he possessed inexhaustible power. Li Wei suppressed the thunder scripture on his immortal golden core, instantly transforming the strands of thunder and lightning within him back into immortal haze pure radiance chi, flowing smoothly and serenely. Still as mist, yet capable of unleashing the fury of heavenly thunder. Li Wei stood up, crushing the spiritual crystal in his hand into dust, which he casually scattered. Under normal circumstances, witnessing the depletion of a treasure worth millions of Xuanhuan coins would have caused him considerable heartache. But now, his battle intent burned fiercely. He was ready to break out of the sacrificial pit and confront his enemies head-on, eager for a glorious, unrestrained battle. Li Wei turned to see the heavenly spiritual cub in his hand trembling with terror, its gaze fixed on something behind him as if it had witnessed something horrifying. A chill pierced Li Wei's back like needles, and his eyes narrowed instantly. Thinking Luo Yinji had pursued him into the pit, he whirled around, spiritual chi surging into his arm. A finger strike shot out with explosive force. Boom. The powerful strike sent the gray mist swirling violently, shattering bones in its path. The ground of the sacrificial pit erupted in an even denser cloud of gray mist, echoing with reverberating booms. Silence fell moments later, a silence that sent shivers down his spine. No one. Li Wei raised the myriad manifestation staff spear, channeling spiritual chi to form a protective barrier around himself. His eyes scanned the surroundings, brows furrowed, as he telepathically instructed the 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors, close in on me. Prepare to retreat. His intent had clearly sensed a presence behind him just moments ago. How could there be nothing there now? Did any of you see anything just now? Li Wei asked. I only saw you suddenly shoot out a finger strike, old Li, Big Phoenix replied, are you possessed or something? Feng added, the death energy here is overwhelming. The malevolent forces are corroding our physical bodies and souls. I dare not even sniff the air. Fourth Phoenix's eyes flashed with lightning as she circled Li Wei, her wings beating rapidly. I don't see anything. Nothing at all. Oh my god, there's a ghostly shadow. Li Wei immediately turned to look in the direction Fourth Phoenix was pointing. Deep within the gray mist, about 20 zhang away, amidst the densely packed remains of ancient corpses, stood a black figure. Its long hair hung loose as it stood motionless, arms at its sides, utterly silent. Its face, clothing, and even whether it was corporeal or spectral remained indistinct, like a phantom or an illusion. Yet from it emanated a palpable aura of decay and chilling dread, conjuring images of a grotesque visage with a ghastly green face and fangs, capable of unleashing earth-shattering power. Li Wei had encountered demons, monsters, and ghosts before. Though a chill ran down his spine, he maintained his composure. He swiftly drew the yellow dragon sword, which suppressed yin and evil, and began to retreat slowly and silently, hoping to slip away unnoticed. He had long heard that the sacrificial pit was vast, containing the remains of tens of thousands, a place of no return. Heavenly spiritual cub's voice grew frantic, babbling in panic. Earth's spiritual child communicated to Li Wei through intent. It says this ghost suddenly awakened. Its chilling power makes it extremely uncomfortable, which is why it's been fleeing the sacrificial pit frequently over the past year, seeking refuge in the sky. A gentle breeze swept through the air. The black figure vanished before Li Wei's eyes, disappearing into thin air. How did it disappear? Li Wei held his breath, turning to flee. But as he turned, he saw a dense mass of ancient corpses standing 10 zhang behind him, tall and short, human and beast, a terrifying and eerie sight. In the gray mist, a continuous hissing and rustling sound echoed. More ancient corpses crawled out from the earth, their bodies riddled with holes and devoid of intact flesh. Then, they began to advance. Buried in this pit for 20,000 years, yet not completely reduced to bone, these ancient corpses bore testament to the extraordinary strength of their physical bodies in life. Their armor, spiritual artifacts, robes, and battle weapons still retained a semblance of value. Li Wei's eyes darkened. He raised his sword, preparing to slash his wrist and use the power of his bloodline to counter the strange forces at play here. Unless faced with an utterly insurmountable enemy, he would never seek Yu Yaozi's help. He resolved to solve this problem with his own abilities. But at that moment, Yu Yaozi's voice echoed from the Dao ancestors' Tai Chi fish. It's a soul remnant, at least the soul reaver of the Crown Prince. With your current cultivation level, you can't defeat it. Li Wei lowered his sword, which had been pressed against his wrist. Grand Palace Master, please lend your aid. Since you ventured into the sacrificial pit on your own, you must rely on your own abilities to resolve this, Yu Yaozi replied. 3,000 years ago, when I was training in the Void Ruins ancient kingdom, even I dared not descend into this place, knowing its inherent dangers. Li Wei swiftly retreated, dodging the approaching ancient corpses. It may be dangerous for martial mystic cultivators of the immortal realm, he said urgently, but for the Grand Palace Master, its true nature is clear. Please stop joking. How could I possibly handle something connected to the Crown Prince in my current state? Joking. The sacrificial pit was created by the Void Ruins Empress. Transforming into a spatial anomaly zone, Yu Yaozi said coldly. Do you truly believe you can activate the Dao ancestors' Tai Chi fish to enter the blood mud space, or even bring me out from it? Li Wei immediately released his spiritual chi and attempted to activate the Dao ancestors' Tai Chi fish. As expected, the attempt failed. Struggling to suppress his panic and maintain composure, he asked, Grand Palace Master, you must have a countermeasure, right? How can we defeat the soul remnant? Yu Yaozi said, with your current cultivation, you can't possibly defeat a soul remnant of this caliber. It's an intent monster born from the lingering resentment within the corpse of a martial mystic Dao heavenly emperor or someone nearly as powerful, influenced by the grief and despair at the moment of death. This intent has been nourished for countless years and can control all the corpses here. How do you plan to fight it? Li Wei, already surrounded by corpses, swung his battle sword and spear, continuously knocking them back. Grand Palace Master, could you offer some useful advice? To solve a problem, you must use your mind. Always remain rational and calm, and never let fear control you. Remember, if a danger is truly insurmountable, you won't even have the chance to think or speak. Yu Yaozi guided him like a teacher. Li Wei quickly regained his composure. A flash of insight struck him, and he realized many things. That's right. If the soul remnant wanted to kill me, why hasn't it acted yet? These ancient corpses are surrounding me to prevent my escape, forcing me deeper into the sacrificial pit. Could this be related to the Thundercloud sect? Was the soul remnant born from the corpse of some great figure in the Thundercloud sect's history? Does it mistake me for a disciple of the Thundercloud sect? Li Wei continued to question himself, considering the possibilities. One of the 5 great armies that besieged the Void Ruins ancient kingdom was led by the Thundercloud sect. At that time, the Thundercloud sect ruled the Lingxiao life realm, its power far surpassing its current state. Considering the thunder and lightning within the heavenly spiritual cub's body, Li Wei immediately realized this was highly probable. Yu Yaozi said, the soul remnant likely awakened at this time because of your arrival in Chun City. It sensed your cultivation of the 9 heavens secret treasury or the presence of the purple heaven thunder seal. Li Wei carefully recalled his entry into the city, when he was ambushed by the Tai Yin sect. He had indeed used the 108th Thunder Annihilation formation. The battle had occurred across the water from the 10,000 burials district of the sacrificial pit. What's the soul remnant's intelligence like? Could it possess me? Li Wei asked, his voice tinged with concern. It's merely a muddled remnant of consciousness, unable to stray far from its corpse. It's trapped within the sacrificial pit, Yu Yaozi replied. If it intended to possess you, it would have acted while you were healing. If that's the case. Li Wei unleashed a torrent of spiritual qi, once again conjuring the 108th Thunder Annihilation formation. With the force of thunder and lightning, he struck down all the ancient corpses within a 30-meter radius. I am a true disciple of the Thundercloud sect, cultivating the true scripture of the 9 heavens secret treasury. What fear have I of you vile spirits? Within the gray mist, the black figure reappeared, standing dozens of meters away. Whatever you are, this true disciple will wield its heavy artifacts today and fight you to the death. Li Wei declared, his spirit radiating fearlessness. He drew the purple heaven thunder seal, gripped it firmly, and unleashed a torrential cascade of purple lightning. Sizzle. The black figure raised its palm, dispelling all the lightning into nothingness. A raspy, indistinct voice emerged from its throat, this old man. Xuanhuan. Within the Tao ancestors Tai Chi fish, Yu Yaozi transmitted telepathically, it's indeed a legendary figure from the Thundercloud sect's history. The wonders of heaven and earth are truly astonishing, even 20,000 years of relentless time couldn't completely bury a person. Impossible. Your ancestor Xuanhuan. He passed away 20,000 years ago. Faced with imminent danger, Li Wei showed both resilience and adaptability. He dropped to one knee, displaying the appropriate reverence and awe expected of a Thundercloud sect disciple. Disciple Li Wei, true disciple of the Thundercloud sect, pays homage to Ancestor. Ancestor. Are you still alive? Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel.